I cannot understand how in the world this book not only passed the editing section, but also the beta reading and the gamma reading and the alpha reading and all those other readings. This book should not exist. It's a failure in literature. Hello everybody, how are you doing? I'm Ernest Cline, author of the War of Tears saga and your host for this 13th episode of Analyzing Fiction. Before we begin, I would like to announce that these two books are already available on Amazon, both on digital and physical format. Depends on when you buy them and where you buy them because of the pandemic, but they are already available. If you want to get them, the links will be down below. Thank you so much for your help, and let's begin this book. So today we're gonna be talking about this book called Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline, and I will not spend my time and your time talking about his biography or the plot of this book, mainly because I do not want to remember it. So let's just get right down into it and just speak about my review for this book. So the Spanish review, it was kind of chaotic, and don't ask questions about the background. You will see this is a surprise for later. Right now, shh, don't worry about it. But the plot. This is the first book that I DNF, that I DNF because I don't like, right? I already DNF'd one book in the past, but that was because I had too many things to do and I just didn't have time. But this book, I DNF'd because I didn't like it. I got up to the 40% of the book, and then I read the remaining plot from Wikipedia, and gosh, the plot of this book, it's such a mess. So it picks up essentially 3 years after Wade wins the competition, right? The Halliday's egg. He finds it, and essentially the plot itself begins 3 years later. But first you have essentially an info dump about everything that happened in those 3 years, and the plot it just doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, first, it's 25% of this book is nothing. It's just exposition, just info dumps. Then you have another 15% of a repetition of the original plot of another Easter egg that needs to be found. And then the rest of the book, it's essentially Terminator and iRobot combined. It's a mess. This book, it's a mess. I mean, it's as if Ernest Cline just wrote a section, then realized it didn't work, so he added another section, and realized that combined those things didn't work, so he added another section that ended up making the book even worse than it was originally. So sorry, Ernest Cline, this plot is horrible. I don't like it. I don't see why anybody would like it, and that's essentially all I have for the plot. Now, as for characters, holy cow, Wade, holy cow. You learned so many things in book 1. You learned how to get out into the world, how you needed to interact with other people out of Oasis, and in this book you not only throw that knowledge into the trash, but you burn the trash can before dumping it into a volcano and seeing it rot. Why? Everything you learned in book 1 is just wasted here in the most horrible of ways. The only character that has any development here is Samantha, and the way in which she is developed, it's horrible because no one in the right mind would make the decisions that these characters make. Samantha is the only one who is at least a little smart towards the beginning of the book, but in the end she joins the others in their idiocy while making decisions. It's just horrible, immoral, strange. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody in an age where internet is already corrupting the minds of hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of millions of people, why would you do those stupid things, those irrational things that you are doing? You know why? Because this book needs a plot, and the plot of this book is just horrible. Now, narrative, it even gets better because the first quarter, and it's no joke, literally the first 25% of this book exactly is nothing. It's a waste of time. An hour and a half of reading is just completely thrown into the trash. You do nothing. The characters do nothing in that section of the book. They just Wade just complains about how miserable his life is. And you know what? Your life deserves to be miserable, sir. You're a horrible person. You definitely deserve it. And I do not know how I managed to go through that 25% without just throwing the book into the trash. It's just... The only reason why I read that 25% is because I really liked book 1. If not for that, I would have dumped it from the beginning. A horrifying book, a horrifying narrative. I did not enjoy it. Now we can get into our execution for this book. And if you have the slightest idea of what this is going to be, then you know that you should never read this book. Exactly, the execution for Ready Player 2, sequel to Ready Player 1 by Ernest Cline. It's a horrible book. I really do not recommend it. You should not read it unless you want to waste your time, and that's why I'm going to give this book a 12 out of 100. That's right. Right after our first 5-star book, we also get our first 1-star book. The worst book I've read in my entire life, and I regret spending my money on it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will leave all the links down below, and please don't cry, Ernest. The moral for the story is essentially do not make a sequel for books that do not need one. I hope that you learned your lesson. Now, let's hope that there is no movie for this, and just let's move on to more happier reviews. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you later. Because that's it. Sorry for the rant, and goodbye.